Oh, and then we get the back side instead of the front. Woo. Okay, let's try this. We're going to have problems again with this stupid thing. 1 second here. Talk. Okay, apparently one of my switches is showing the back side instead of the front. I'm 2 for 2 so far. Last Sunday I did a live stream, and it just went all to crap like right off the bat. And you know, being the first live stream, nerves shot wild, and I was misquoting myself, misrepresenting my system that I currently use, and all that fun stuff. So hopefully this live stream goes a lot smoother. I'm trying to get my levels the correct level here. Hopefully that sounds all right to people, but it is just a barrel of fun this last Sunday, and hopefully it's a little bit better this time. I'll show you a bit of what's going on with my system here. I had some technical difficulty again starting up this stream, and it all had to do with basically I use an Elgato Stream Deck, and one of the things I do is I link actions so that it does like the whole intro, the whole countdown, the disclaimer, the intro. And one of the things I had built into there was it would start the stream. It would start the stream, and it would start the recording of the video coming from the stream, and so on and so forth. Well, right after the stream, the live stream, this last Sunday, as soon as I got off the stream, I was like, okay, what is causing this thing to mess up as bad as it is? So I literally went through and like checked everything, made sure that it worked, and verified it many times. I made the stream. Oh, the stream is private right now. Let's make that public. Maybe I'll get a couple more viewers here. Anyway, so I tested it like crazy, and lo and behold, it worked just fine. And just like everything else that could possibly go wrong, it decided to go wrong on me right as I was going live today. I hit the button again after testing it many times. Hence the reason why this stream was private there for a little bit here. But I tested it multiple times, and I went to get it to go again this time, and it just, as soon as I hit the button, I knew there was a problem. And of course there was the error I saw last week. So I don't know if it's just an issue that hits me right at like 5 till 8 every time I try to start the stream, but it's kind of Murphy's Law. If it could go wrong, it does go wrong, and apparently it goes wrong pretty good for me. So anyway, what I got going on here, and I'll show you real quick, is I'll show you how I have this Elgato deck set up. So let me go to demo. That'll take you to that stream. Shows you all my fun information there. Nothing I think is going to cause any problems, but anyway, let's see, bottom screen, top screen, there we go. So I got the Elgato program up here that runs the Stream Deck. That's this right here. And I'm going to do my best to refrain from actually pressing the buttons on it, because it will change my actual what I'm actually displaying and stuff like that. So let me get rid of that and see here. Jacob foiled himself again. So let's actually add that back and get rid of that. And let's, instead of showing the top, let's show the bottom. Okay, there we go. So anyway, I have the Elgato Stream Deck screen up here, and under it I have multiple different settings. So if I go to my control panel, I have where I can tell whether I'm recording or not. I can also tell whether I'm streaming or not. And of course I got my audio setups so I can turn on and off desktop. And then I have my going live and my ending stream. And this is the one that seems to be causing me the problem lately. And if you go in that, you'll see that this is pretty stacked. I deleted just before I started the stream because obviously it failed on me again. And I ended up restarting the system and doing everything I could do to clear it up. But previous to deleting the track or the two settings I had on here, I had it to where it would tweet out, and I have that message that you see on my Twitter or whatever there, and it would turn off the audio so I don't say anything stupid like all the cuss words I was saying when it was failing. You know, I figured it would probably be a good idea to have the audio off on that part. And then right after that, I had it set up where I dragged this over, and I had it set up the stream and the record. But I had it actually in a different order. I had it like so. And so this is how I had it last week, or not last week, but Sunday, when I tried to get it to actually stream with the one button and all that stuff. And again, I've tested all this stuff pretty thoroughly, and it just right going live, it just failed. So I figured, okay, what is the problem? Is it because I'm trying to start the record and the stream at the same time? Well, okay, well then I put a delay in there, and I said, okay, I want you to wait like 11 seconds. So I put it 1100 in there because this counts by milliseconds. So I put 1100 in there, or 11,000, and put the delay, and put my stream on private last Sunday right after the live stream, and I tested it quite a few times, and it came up just fine. Everything streamed just fine. Everything recorded just fine, just like I had tested it previously. However, for some reason, when I went to go do it today, I pressed that same button, this one right here, which is now programmed to do it like this, and it failed. It started the record process, and then it started recording successfully, no problem, and it would fail on the start of the stream. So when it went to this step right here, my Elgato Stream Deck would literally lock up on that. Basically, it has this little. I can't show it to you because if I were to hit the button, it would actually try to go through the whole process again and all that stuff. But it has this like little timer that shows you how long it's taking to go through all of this. But you know, overall I like this Stream Deck. I don't think it's really a problem with the Stream Deck as much as it's probably a problem with OBS. And I don't see really a big way around that at the moment. There's some other streaming tools out there, but didn't really like them at all. One, they either cost money, or two, they were. Good night. Close the door, please. Get the dog out, please. I'm actually. Hold on a sec. Kids do not listen to parents. That is lesson number 2 tonight. It's a live stream. If it could go wrong, it does go wrong. So, you know, they don't quite listen, and neither does the dog. If you saw the dog, my dog's name is IO, and I think I explained that the last stream. Anyway, where I was going with this is I don't really think it's a problem with the Stream Deck. I think it's more of a problem with OBS itself, and I'm just going to have to figure out its nuances, because I've already put quite a bit of my own money into this thing, and I got to kind of make it work with what I got. So anyway, that's that. So I don't know if anyone's interested on how I have the rest of this set up, but basically I can see how many streamers I have live with this section here. I can send out tweets here if I want. And then I got my screens broken down, and I got them all like built as multi-action buttons because I want it to do certain things. I was finding that if I try to reduce everything to one screen, I was running out of space. So basically I have these actions built. For example, if I hit all on, and I'll show you that's later, but if I hit all on, it goes to that scene that I got created for it. And it also goes to the control panel that I also have created for that. So, that control panel is right here, all on stream. And you'll see that I can turn on and off different elements. I can turn on the Discord, which is pretty much a ghost town right now because, this is all new. So I don't have anyone in the whole Patreon setup yet. If you do have a chance, go ahead and check out my Patreon, just because I'm kind of trying to stay away from monetizing my videos. That's something else I was going to kind of talk about tonight. Just felt it necessary to talk about. But anyway, so I got this set up with this, and you'll see that there's like a record one, and that basically does the same thing where it switches the control panel on the screen, and then it switches what scene I'm using or what camera view I'm using. All the live fun move around stuff here. Anyway, so I have it built out pretty nice, and for the most part it does its job. I'm still figuring out the kinks and making note of it, kind of learning as I go, and kind of the reason why I'm doing the live streams. For example, I might have to have a discussion with the kids again and say, hey, after 8 o'clock, stepdad is not available on Wednesdays and Sundays. I thought I made that clear, but you probably saw a boy in his underwear just because he didn't quite listen when I told him, hey, I'm live. And I'm sure you heard that part. So hopefully that gets by the internet trolls, but it'll probably still be up here for posterity. I'll definitely have to show Mama Bear it and see what she thinks of it. But that's a fun part. So anyway, so I got this all set up here, and then OBS I have set up kind of fun, and I'll probably show you that because the whole idea is showing you guys what I'm doing for the stream. So I'm gonna bring that down, and I'll get a little tunnel vision there. But I got different things set up. I got a group for Discord, so I can pop that up anytime I want to. That does things like says the channel name, who's on it. If you go for my $10 tier on Discord, it'll do messages here, and I'll hit those first before I hit the ones off of YouTube. And also, if you go for the next tier up, I have live audio, so this will actually display who's talking and stuff like that down in this area. And then I've created different groups like top, main, top, bottom, and bottom, main. That's basically, if you look at my configuration, and I'll switch to that real quick so you can probably see my backside again. But go to talk. Okay, so on the back side, you'll see here that I got 2 screens set up. And the computer I talked about in the stream last time is right there. And it's a pretty nice setup. These speakers here, I actually still got the mark from when I marked it last week. I got to take something and clean that off. But as actually, these speakers were actually built by a friend of mine. His name's Sean. I'll let him post on the chat area or in the comments if he wants to be known all the way. But a good friend of mine named Sean built these speakers. They are just awesome speakers. To this day, the best speakers I've heard in my life. Just really good as like monitors for like listening to audio that you're creating and stuff like that. So see here, I'll do front cam. Somehow I messed that up, but yeah. Anyway, so that's the setup there, and then let's. I was gonna show you what I got going on for. Still getting used to everything. Let's see, demo, and it should be there. Yeah. So again, I have a group set up for my screens and stuff like that. I'm probably going to do further on that. I'm kind of having fun learning this as I go. And again, I'm trying to build this out in such a way that I can do multiple different things with it, because I am using it as my ingest for video. So I'm using it as my ingest for recorded video. As you see, I'm recording right now, and also for doing the live stream. So I do have it set up to do multiple items and stuff like that. So obviously when I'm recording a video, I want to leave all the logos and stuff like that out until I get to post where I can add my own logos or animated logos or something like that. Most of the logos I got set up now are just for are really just for like the live stream and stuff like that. Keep going to the back side. Let's actually fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pull up the Elgato Stream Deck, and I'm going to go to demo, and we'll fix it together while I'm online. Why not? It's a learning channel, so let's figure this out. So I'm going to go to demo, and here we go. So you see that screen now. I'm going to just close that, and then I'm going to bring up my Elgato Stream Deck software. And the one that's messing up is when I hit demo and I go to this, it's going to the demo scene, which is what I want, but it's going to demo stream. Okay, so there's a button in it that's messing up. So I'm going to go to demo stream. Okay, and when I go to front, it goes front view. That's what I want. Mobile cam view. Workbench. Did it change my camera views? So what you're going to see now is all 4 lit up here. I'm just trying to figure, I think these were switched before. So let me check. So workbench is correct. Mobile cam is correct. Front view is correct. So those are all correct. All right. So we'll go back. Let's find out what's going on here. So bench stream. And we got front talk stream. So it's failing. Okay. So if I go to talk, it shows the back side rather than the front. There we go. That's what it is. I have them stacked. So I have them stacked. That's I was going to do some other action with it, and I just didn't do it. So the way I have the talk stream set up is I should be able to give you all angles of that. And yeah, that's what I was doing. And if I go to record, yep, okay. Yep. Okay, we're good. We are good finally. So yeah, so there's a bunch of fun there. To that effect, as it turns out, the stream from Sunday, I had a lot of fun doing that, and of course my nerves. I have to say that tonight my nerves are a lot less than they were on Sunday. I think it was the first stream is the problem, and also the fact that everything just hit the fan right before I started the stream. So you know, that didn't quite help out much. So, you know, I guess it is what it is, and you just kind of have to roll with blows. I'm actually checking the stream. I went from private to public like right after the stream started, so I want to just see if it's good here. Looks like it's good. Yeah, it looks good. So we'll close that, and then anyway. So that being said, I starting the stream last week, I decided to go into actually recording some video for content of some videos that were coming out. That's kind of my idea that I want to do is, like, as I'm building the course, in this case, it's going to be the 10-007 version of Net Plus, and probably not the best name for it, calling it 007, but anyway, I was going to record some of the content for that in that stream, and I don't think I was quite perfectly set up for it. So I may hold off on doing that for a little bit, just to get, my sales under me, and make sure that everything is working properly as far as the stream, as far as, obviously my Elgato Stream Deck that I'm using to do the actual transitions and everything. I probably need to get that to where it's working the way I want it to work. See, I hit the wrong button so far. I'm doing that a lot lately. But I just want to get that to where it's functioning 100% before I go and decide that I'm, gonna start recording my live sessions again. One of the things that my wife, one of my biggest fans, she was watching the stream last week, or I keep on saying last week, technically I guess Sunday is, but she was watching the stream this last Sunday, and she said that when I was doing the whiteboard, it was cutting the screen with me, my talking head and stuff in it was actually cutting off part of what I was doing on the whiteboard. And to tell you the truth, I was kind of experimenting with the whiteboard to kind of see how it would work and what I wanted to do. I'm probably going to re-record a lot of that content I created that night. I'm going to try to use some of the content I created, but I'm more likely going to re-record it and from a better position, because believe it or not, doing this live stream, even if I have no viewers at the moment and I'm a new channel and all that stuff, it is helping with some of the nerves and actually sitting in front of the camera and doing the recording of actual, footage for the actual videos I want to produce. So I'm going to replace a lot of the whiteboard stuff that I did Sunday with some actual graphics on the screen. I'm going to try to keep the PowerPoint part of it to a minimum, because I just know that you can get too much PowerPoint stuff in front of you, And I was actually, through my old videos, about a month and a half ago, I was approached by one of the big publishers of online media as far as technical training courses and stuff like that. And they contacted me, and they wanted me to basically stop making YouTube content. From what I mean, at that point I had already stopped for the most part. And they actually wanted me to start producing content for actual sale to other like online streaming training companies, where you pay, for a course, and then by paying for that course you get my course, or if you were to go on to LinkedIn and use their learning software, essentially you would be getting my course. And one of the things they wanted me to do was they wanted me to basically record the course, but do it where it was all slides. Each video had to be like 3 to 5 minutes long, no longer, no shorter, kind of thing, on every little topic. So they wanted separate videos for each topic. They would give me a down payment of, a certain amount of money, and then, I was to get like a certain amount of money when I produced the first video, and then after all the videos were accepted, I was going to get another amount of money, and then of course it was all fronted money. So at the end of that, when they actually started selling my videos, they would give me a percentage, a pretty small percentage, but a percentage, and that would work towards what they already paid me, kind of thing. And then after that, I would make a residual income from it. And I kind of decided against it because, number one, I feel that, technically and in the industry I'm in, I'm pretty well versed in what I do, but I'm still getting used to this whole video thing, and I'm still getting used to being in front of a camera. And I have a tendency, if you haven't figured it out by now, by talking a lot, and so that typically doesn't work out. I need to do scripting and stuff like that, and kind of get my toe wet doing that before I go and try to, work as a subcontractor for these other people. And to tell you in all honesty, I really don't have a lot of interest in that. I got into the industry because it's a passion of mine. I love what I do. I've been doing it for going on 22 years, and so, my dad was a brick mason, and he basically, I would help him on the summers, and he basically told me, hey, I know that you're good at working with me on, masonry, but I don't ever want you to do this for a living. I want you to do what you like to do and stuff like that. And he knew I liked computers, and I liked technology, and I took enough of his stuff apart for him to know that. And so that's kind of what I did. I went into something that I really enjoy doing. And over the years, I've trained people, and back before CompUSA went out of business, and the name was bought out and made a website or whatever. They used to have they would subcontract people to train, and I was one of those people that they would subcontract to train. One of my first jobs right out of high school was actually working for a computer training company called New Horizons Computer Learning Center. And, I always, they're not the only ones to do this, but I always found it funny that they would, get these people that were like fish out of water and try to teach them how to be server admins in a week's time. And it's just like, I don't know how you do that. And so I was a facilities tech for New Horizons Computer Learning Center, which means I was the guy that, we had a lot of classrooms and not enough computers to fill all the classrooms. So I was that guy that moved the computers from one room to another so that we had adequate number of computers. I would re-image the computers every night. If one broke down, I would fix it. We were using computers with the AT connector on them, the baby AT connector for the keyboard at that time, and those things would detach from the motherboard like crazy. We had these mobile computers that looked like huge suitcases. They were gray and they were huge. They had the like monitor built on the front, tip out, and then it had like a regular size motherboard in the actual box. So it was quite heavy. It's not like a laptop. It was literally like a suitcase kind of thing. And our trainers would take these suitcases out to people that contracted the company and set up like a mobile lab so they could actually train people on site. And the AT connectors on those things would break away all the time. But when I worked for New Horizons, the one in particular I worked for, they had made a deal with a local unemployment agency here in town, and where I live, it's a very much a oil industry kind of place, and so they would take these guys that were like losing their jobs in the oil fields because oil was on a downturn. And so, the thing about not trying to be offensive to anyone, but the oil field workers, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, they get into the oil industry and they're like, oh man, I'm making all this money, and they do get paid very well for it. But the problem is when times are good, they're good and they can buy new trucks and they can buy new homes. But when times are bad, they didn't save up for those times. So, they almost immediately start losing their house. They start losing their car. And, every one of them are probably praying, not every one of them, but the ones that don't plan, are praying to, all night long that they get the oil industry goes back up so they can start paying for all their toys that they now can't afford. What that company was doing was they were working with a local employment agency, and they would take these guys that basically had never touched a computer before, and they were putting them through like server admin classes. And this was back in the day of Windows Server NT 3.5, and before I left it was 4.0, and Workstation 3.5 and Workstation 4.0, and then I think 2000 wasn't even out yet. This was back in 1998. And so I just really felt for these guys because they sit there and they would see me going through the hallway, and they would see me like carrying a computer or something, and I would inevitably always be called into like the room where they were doing like a study hall, and I would have to sit down with these guys and basically tell them the very basics of what computers did. I mean, some of them, I'm not even kidding. I would have to go in and actually show them how to turn on the computer, just hit the power switch. And again, this is not bad-mouthing, oil field workers, because I've been in doctor's offices where, the doctor doesn't even know how to turn on the computer. One of my ex-students went to go work for a local hospital here in town, and he came up to me one day and he said, "Mr. Jewett," he goes, I didn't believe you, but man, you were right. And I said, "What do you mean by that?" And he goes, "You remember that time you said that, doctors are very smart, but they're very stupid when it comes to computers, or, you won't believe some of the service calls that you get?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember that." And he goes, "Yeah, you would not believe this. I had this doctor call me. I was on call one day, and I got called in, and he insisted that he had to have the computer working, and that it had been down for like 2 weeks, and he can't deal with this anymore. He's going into surgery. He needs it to work. And he goes, would you believe it? I looked at the computer down under the, under the tray where they had the computer, and I saw it was on, and I looked up at the monitor, and I saw the monitor was off, and so I went back and I checked the power cable on the monitor. It was plugged in, and so literally the only thing I did was press the power button, and it came on, and I started laughing, and he goes, I couldn't believe it, and this doctor was on me, and and I was ready to punch the guy, and because he was just on me about this, and it was the first time I went out there, and I said, well, that's the kind of thing you're gonna get. You're gonna get that kind of stuff in the industry. So I mean, when I say people can't turn on a computer, I mean I'm not. Again, not trying to badmouth any one industry or anyone in whatever industry. I used to run my own business, and I used to have employees come up to me and say like, "Oh, that lawyer you sent me out to, he was so stupid. Oh my God, he was terrible. He couldn't turn on the computer. He couldn't type on the computer. He was da 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 da. And he's so stupid." And it's like, well, and I've had the same thing kind of come from the clients as well. Along the lines of, I'm so stupid when I try to use this computer. I can't believe it. I'm so stupid. It's like, wait. Towards the employee, it was like, you have to understand, you and I do this all day long. We work with computers all day. We, obviously this is something that we do day in, day out. The lawyer doesn't. That's not something he does all the time. That's not his 100% focus. His 100% focus is the law and, serving his clients, hopefully, and trying to be the advocate for his client. It's not exactly he's worried about whether he can turn a computer on or not. So I know this is a rambling video, but I figured there's only one person on it so far, so chances of that person being my wife is pretty high. So I figure this is good rambling time. So going back to my point, throughout my career, I've done training. I've taught other people, and I've taught at, the private level. I've gone to people's companies and taught, a workforce on how to use Microsoft Word. I've taught them how to use Excel. I've taught them how to do this and that. And even when I went to college, I ended up teaching a lot of the class because unfortunately, some of my instructors were the kind of instructors that would get up to the front of the class and open the book to the chapter that they assigned to us to read the night before. And then the next day when we had, those of us who actually read the chapter, when we would go back to class, he would get upset because everyone was playing solitaire. And the reason why they were playing solitaire is because he is reading from the book, word for word, the chapter that we had were assigned to read the night before. So, again, at all those different levels. And then I taught for private colleges. I taught for 2 major private colleges. And the thing, it's an industry-wide thing, and I'm probably killing myself on a future job teaching if I ever decide to go back to doing it for actual pay. But the problem I had is they were signing students up for an 8-month program, and and I think the other one I worked for did a 10-month program. But they would sign students up for these accelerated programs. Number one, most of the time, they were students that, had never really worked with a computer, or they had they didn't have a computer at home, and, the course didn't offer them a computer as part of their tuition. Initially, some of them did, and then they stopped because it costs money to do that. Well, I mean, the students are paying for it. I don't see what the problem is, but since it was costing money to do that, they cut that off, and they would get these students that couldn't afford to go to school really, but they were using like grants or loans, the federal loan program, and they were charging these students like $18,000 for an 8-month course. And, at the end of that course, giving them a gee whiz, you completed the course kind of diploma thing, but it wasn't a degree. It wasn't really anything. It was like, gee whiz, you did some time at a trade school. And, when these students were signing up, they were promising them jobs and, gee whiz, we have a, intern to work program. You go and do these, or not intern, but externships, and you go do that, and gee whiz, when you're done with that externship, most people get jobs through that because they know who you are, and it's basically a long interview and stuff like that. What they failed to mention to these students was that a lot of these companies were signing up for these externships because of free labor. And they get the free labor once the extern got to however many hours they needed, they would just drop the student, and that was basically it. I met my wife working for a school. She was my student for about a month and a half, and then she transferred to another class, and then I hadn't seen her for 2 years, but like 2 years after she was my student, she looked me up on Facebook. It was about 1.5 years, 2 years. She looked me up on Facebook and contacted me through there for another issue or another reason, and we started hanging out. Next thing you know, we were in a relationship. So it's kind of a funny story to be able to tell people, but through working for those private colleges, I came to the realization that unfortunately it's a fixed program as far as I'm concerned. They say that they're concerned about students, but they're really not. As long as they got a butt in the seat, they're happy, and that shows, because I could show you a job performance review that I had that said I was excellent on everything as far as being the instructor, but my attendance was not that great because, well, these students that they were signing up were bad at high school to start with, and some of them had some family problems, and some of them had issues getting to the school because they didn't have a car, they didn't have a bike, they didn't have fares for the bus. They were signing up students that really didn't have money to do anything, and not really setting them up for the best success. And then, but if their butt wasn't in the seat, it didn't matter what grade they had, that was a problem, and they were putting students into the program. Unfortunately in the IT industry, it's all about your integrity and, the loyalty, not loyalty, but what kind of honor and integrity you have. And so if you have a felony, unfortunately in the industry, you're more likely not going to get a job, at least not for a big company. You may get a job with a mom and pop shop, but I can guarantee you that if one of the customers finds out that you have a felony, you probably won't have that job long. And the reason why is because technicians or IT professionals typically have administrative access to a network which they service or support, and you basically have keys to the kingdom. And when you have that kind of responsibility, it's kind of hard for a company to trust someone that's had a felony, whether they've done their time or not. It's really a problem. And, I'm not saying it's impossible for you to get a job, but it's really hard. And so, they were taking these guys that literally, I had a student that would stay in a tent out behind the school. And then, literally when he got kicked off the property, he stayed across town, and he would, before he come to class, he'd take a shower, and in like a gym, he made a little bit of money that he could have a gym membership, and he would go take a shower there. Then he would rush his butt over to my class and take my class. And, so, you really feel for these students. And I mean, you even ask my wife. When my wife joined my class, I was teaching a business class at the time, and I told her, her first day when she came into the class, her first day, before she came in, my director came into the classroom and told me, "Hey, we got this new student that's starting today. Her name's blah blah, and she's from Peru, and she's got her bachelor's degree." And I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound right. Why is she coming here? I mean, we're a trade school. If she's got her bachelor's degree, the last thing she should be doing is coming to our school. And my director said, well, she wants to come, so we're going to let her come, da, 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 da. And when she came into my classroom, and I met her and my director walked out, the first thing I said to her was, well, what are you doing? Why are you coming here? And she just really wanted to learn English. I mean, she was taking the business course to learn English. And I tried to talk her out of it. I said, if your thing is that you want to learn English, you should go to BC, which is our local college, our local community college. And I said, you should go to BC or something like that and take English class or, language class or something. Take that. You'll get more out of that than you will out of this class, and it'll cost you a whole hell of a lot less. I mean, I'd rather pay, community college fees than pay, private college fees that were at the time $18,500 for an 8-month course. It was just you'll have meetings that say that they're not fleecing students, but that's exactly what they're doing, and it's unfortunate. And I that's kind of the birth, in the longest way possible. That's the birth child of the reason why I'm doing the YouTube channel. Is the stuff I'm planning to teach on this channel is exact stuff that not the exact stuff because their material sucked, but it's the exact idea of having a trade school and having an instructor in front of you versus going to a trade school and paying $18,000 for something that you can learn and you can learn on your own, and you don't need someone to give you a certificate, a worthless certificate, to basically self-learn. It just, to me, it makes no sense, and that's why I'm doing what I do, or what I'm trying to do. On to the YouTube thing. So when starting up this channel, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to provide the information and all that stuff for free. I didn't want to turn on monetization. Previous videos I've published have been out there enough that I now have that ability to turn on monetization. Like, it's an option that I now have. And I really don't want to, but the more I'm reading into how YouTube works, and granted that's a crap bag in itself, but the more I'm reading on it, it's you almost have to turn on monetization so that you get some kind of exposure. I mean, for example, this live stream here, if I was monetized, it would probably go out to everyone that's subscribed to me, and show that, hey, you know, the creator that you subscribe to is now live. And, you know, that's great and everything. But I'm kind of at a crossroads now of like whether I should turn on monetization and be subject to YouTube's stupid things that they do, where they demonetize people for no apparent reason. I mean, if I'm going to force my users or force people that are watching my videos to go through advertising, someone better be getting paid for it. And, you know, I'm grateful for YouTube or Google, the parent company, to have the platform that they do that allows me to use it and basically come on here and ramble for an hour or two. You know, I appreciate that and everything, but at the same time, I mean, they're getting their money's worth with all the other advertisements they get, and obviously it's a money-making business, or they wouldn't be doing it. And you know, I just hear horror stories of people turning on monetization, and you know, someone coming in and copyright claiming their video and taking the money. And even if they prove themselves right and prove that they did not, in fact, violate copyright laws or anything like that, they never get that money back. It's just like someone still gets paid for it, but obviously is not the person doing it. So, knowing that I'm a new channel and everything, I've kind of chosen to just go along the route of you know, having like a Patreon, and if someone wants to contribute to it, they can. And I know that you know, it's probably not the best plan, because obviously I don't have a big viewership yet and stuff like that, and I may never get a big viewership. But I figured by having a Patreon, people could choose whether they want to support me or not. And all the money, since you know, I'm doing this kind of on my own dime and stuff like that, the money that would come from that would go to proper equipment, and of course making the courses easier for me to record and the such. So, you know, that's basically where it's at. So going again back to where I kind of started this whole thing at, most of the content that I recorded on Sunday, I'm re-recording and doing all the graphics and stuff like that. So probably won't record another section tonight. However, had there been more people on the stream, I would have answered certainly more questions. So what I may do is I may take this live streaming part of it and turn it into, like, on Sundays I'll try to do actual content to where I actually show and teach things and answer questions. And that may be just a live session. I may not even keep the recording as far as like to edit it and use it for, future content. I may just do like a live training thing on a certain chapter of the book that I showed in the last live stream, and go from there and just make it a bit of a live instructor kind of thing, like kind of the same experience that you would get if you were paying for a private college, or even, old CompTIA, you would have an instructor in front of you and stuff like that. So I may turn this into a bit of that kind of setup. But on Wednesdays, I might pick topics, or may do like more of a Q&A or something. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these live things. I want to keep doing them because I think eventually they will turn out to be something. And I know that the first like 3 or 4, maybe 5 are going to be mostly experimental and have kids half naked running through them, apparently. If you were watching earlier, my stepson decided that when I said I was live, that was time to run in the room and all that stuff. So anyway, hopefully, yeah, I'm not expecting anyone to get a whole lot out of this stream. This is more of a rambling stream. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you did, please let me know in the comments. If you didn't, I'm open to comments there as well. If you have any additional ideas or something that you'd like to see me try, or any notes or anything, I'm more than open to it. Any hateful stuff, I'll just bypass you or delete you. I ask that if you leave comments in my, I know this is probably going to get me in trouble, but if you leave comments, I ask that they be constructive. They don't always have to be positive, but at least be constructive. And because again, I'm leaving monetization off for the pure purpose of not making you go through a commercial. And I'm really trying to do this as like a free thing, and really trying to, help people out. So if I can help in any way in your journey in certification, please let me know. That's where I'm at with it. So look forward to some videos from me, some actual content. Hopefully by this Sunday, I'm hoping to publish some videos before I go live on Sunday. But other than that, I think I've talked your ear off. If you're watching this video to this point, my hat's off to you. Thank you for doing so. Please check out the links I have in the description, and we'll go from there. Again, I'm going to do another live stream this Sunday at 8 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock Pacific time. I'm in California, so that's the best time for me to do it. That's when kids, for the most part, are asleep. And I do have a day job. So if you're watching this video and saying, hey, keep your day job, well, so far I have. So look forward to speaking to you guys then. Until then, I wish you all the best. And hopefully we'll have some new content out for you here very shortly. Thank you and good night.